Okay. Okay, thank you. If we could settle down, we'll call this meeting of the House Higher Education Committee to order. We have a number of items we're going to consider this afternoon, and if the will of the committee is to take action, they'll be ripe for that. We are close on the quorum, so I'll ask all the members, if they can, to stay for all of the measures. We have on the agenda this afternoon SB 112, SB 235, SB 385, SB 399, and SB 469. We've been asked by Senator Halburn, because of the time, had to move back from 1 to 1:30. She had a conflicting event, so we've been asked by the author to hold that over, and we will do so. So with that change, if there's no objection, that's the agenda. We'll move forward on. I see no objection, so that's where we'll go. First item is Senator Anavatori here. Yes, sir. Do you want to come forward? We have today Senate Bill 112 LC 339700S. And we've heard this before from last year, Senator, so don't.
Yeah, all I'm going to say, I'm just going to say this is the Workforce Acceleration Act. We've already talked about it. I'm open to questions.
I love it when a plan comes together. No, I thank the Senator. I will note for this is the language that the committee heard last year with a couple of changes that I would like to highlight. On line 20, there was it used to read, is over 21 years of age and under 35 years. There had been some question about moving that age up, so we tried to do that to 45 years. We'll see how that, it's a pilot program, so we'll see how that works. And then we also changed, we extended the date of the pilot because we're a year later. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the action. We had this item last year, and it is available for action today. I have a couple of lights here. Let me see what we're going to do. Number 26?
That would be me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Chairman. For this bill, a concern that I have is I know that a couple of years ago we started a pilot program.
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Is that too much?
No, sir. I want to keep us like we did yesterday. If you have a question, let's ask that now. I think we're going to get a motion, and I'll recognize you under debate for the motion.
Let's do that then.
If you would. Does anybody have a question? No questions. Then we have this available for action, and after which we'll go back to Chairman Perkle for discussion. What's the will of the committee?
Move to pass.
Wait a minute. Okay, did you have a question? Oh, I turned you off when you want. Well, I looked here and I thought it was. Would you like it? All right. What's the pleasure of the committee? LC 339700S for Senate Bill 112.
Move to pass.
I have a motion and a second. We now in a position. Is there discussion? Chairman Perkle, you were number 26.
Yes, sir. Are you aware of what so we did a similar program to technical schools with the dual achievement program a couple of years ago. It impacted the students from age 16 to 21, I believe. And I think some of our technical colleges have already started implementing those things, and we have students enrolled in those. Do you know how that program has worked?
Yeah, functionality, I understand how it works in terms of data outcomes or anything such as
Right.
that. I don't think I've seen data from TCSG as of yet, but I know they're collecting data, but I have not seen any outcome data as of yet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know you said we did this last year, but can you just give me a couple sentences on what you're asking for?
Of course. Thank you for the question. So basically, this program is setting up a pilot program under TCSG for 3 sites in Macon, Columbus, and Savannah to create potentially Excel centers These Excel centers would basically enroll adults through the ages that the chairman mentioned to basically obtain a high school diploma, not a GED, but a high school diploma. And the organizations would basically provide wrap services that they would provide. That would not be a cost to the state. So basically, it will be the first of its kind program in the state of Georgia in terms of a public-private partnership.
Okay, thank you. And just one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
How will those students that have special needs, like have IEPs, how will they be handled? Will there be somebody there to give them that support that they need also?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So my understanding is that I think they're going to do everything they can to make sure it's kind of treated like if you were in a regular high school setting in terms of those dynamics. I know the organizations involved have worked with families with persons with disability, children with disabilities, folks that come in looking for jobs. I mean, they're kind of on all spectrums of life and barriers and things like that. So my understanding is that they would address that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the bill. I love it. I wanted to just ask specifically for lines 22 and 23, those who are ineligible, since it's not really spelled out here, who are the people who are ineligible for this program? It just mentions a code section.
Yeah, I can help you with that if you want to. That's the, you basically have to be eligible to receive HOPE. You don't have to have the 3.0. You have to be eligible to receive. So you have to be a state resident. You have to meet the eligibility, other eligibility requirements that would be make you eligible to receive HOPE, not qualified to receive HOPE, if that makes sense. That's current Georgia law.
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
I don't see any further questions. I just, if under discussion, to the senator, we mentioned the 3 people that are interested in it. That's not prescribed in the bill, but it
Right.
is certainly it certainly is a good authority that they will make efforts to be part of that bill. So rather than being a prescriptive, that is up to that in case that changes or other people want to be competitive in other cities.
Yeah, and I'll just say just real quick, I know we, we'll basically kind of let TCSG kind of work through that with the legislature and the governor's office. And then the other thing, just so the committee's aware, I know the Governor Kemp put $5 million in the budget for this. I know over on this side, y'all took it down to 625. We're going to try and put more money back on the Senate side, and then hopefully we all can agree on that. So I know there's conversations around that today, just to make sure that's transparently known.
Yes, sir.
Where the governor's office stands.
Thank you. I see no further discussions. We have LC 339700S, Senate House Substitute Senate Bill 112. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. It moves on to rules. Thanks, Senator. Senator, who is your House sponsor? I think it was like, yeah, I was thinking, I don't want to, okay, he does not decline having Senator, Chairman Stevens do that. Chairman Stevens. Yes. Yes, I'm going to go now to Senate Bill 385. Senate Bill 385 is right here. If I could explain the changes that you have in your sub in working with the senator. There was some question about the scope of the extension, and the Georgia Military College has worked with us, in great fashion to develop on lines 19 through 27 specific bachelor programs that they will concentrate on, so that we have a limited exposure or a limited extension of their mission, but one that will allow them to get moving and a proof of concept, if you will. So that is the change, as well as in lines 37 through 43. We have added some reporting language, and at the appropriate time, I would like to change that date from September 1st to September 30th if we get a motion on that. But Senator Williams is here. He can address any questions, but I want to thank the senator for working with us to develop that sub. So the House Committee on Hire would develop that. And are there questions? Senator, let me ask the Senator, do you wish to opine on the substitute further than my explanation?
The gentleman knows of what he
Yeah,
speaks.
so we're gonna go to him first. Number 18, is that you, Chairman Knight? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To my friend, I know I asked a specific question about TEG, and you said that last meeting that you don't think that this bill would allow for further access to TEG. My information is that it does. So I just wanted to make that clear. Is that the Georgia Military College does get TEG.
Chairman Knight, I believe in section 20-3-411, they have to be an eligible student of an approved school, and I would think what they're talking. So it is possible that these programs, if they were otherwise an eligible student, that could get that at the University of Georgia, if they could get Hope at the University of Georgia, if they were going, or if they could get Hope, and that they would be. But if one is not an eligible student, they would not be eligible for TEG into this program. You have to be an eligible student and be attending an approved school. They are an approved school, but all these students may not be eligible students.
Wasn't my question, but thank you.
Well, I mean, again, I don't want to cut the gentleman off. You're correct. It is possible that students that avail themselves of this could be eligible for TEG, but they would be eligible for the Hope Scholarship at another private school in Georgia as well as TEG. Yes, sir. Representative Bernal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I don't really want to portray to be the Debbie Downer on your bill. I mean, I think it's okay. But the categories that you picked
Well,
are...
remember, we're going to ask questions and we'll debate. I'm going to keep us on that thing. So do you have a question? And then I'll come back to you if we get a motion for debate.
I can wait.
Yes, ma'am. I think we're going to try. We got 5 bills today. We're going to try to keep it. Number 8. Do you have a question? Well, when we get through questions, are there any questions? Are there any questions? Okay, then now would be the appropriate time for that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion to pass with the chairman's edit to line.
Well, I'll get that in as
Okay,
amendment.
no,
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I have a motion and a second that this do pass LC 460891S. I know there's going to be an amendment. I'm going to go back first to Representative Bernal for her comments.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. No, thank you.
I promoted you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. My only concern is looking at the degrees that you're going to offer. Several of them you can't get a job in if you don't go on to have a master's. Are you aware of that?
Yes, ma'am. Every one of those degrees would be aligned to master's programs if that's required for the employment in those fields. That's the way we design them.
Okay, so then, okay, I just want to make sure because some of these people will not be able to just walk out right and get a job immediately.
It would be aligned to any further schooling that they would need to enter that profession as a pathway to it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When the time is appropriate, I'd like to offer an amendment.
That would be now.
Would be now?
We'll do that, and if the amendment stops, then we'll go into further discussion.
Okay, thank you. So my understanding is there was an inadvertent mistake in the sub, which, if we look at line 18, where Bachelor of Applied Sciences is crossed out, that was an inadvertent mistake, as that applies to or refers to the current online program. So the amendment would be to add the terms Bachelor of Applied Science back into the bill in the list of degrees that are offered.
Okay, is there a second to the lady's motion?
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the amendment. If I may, restate the motion and perfect it as going into the bill for the lady if she agrees. That I would say after line 18, we would insert Bachelor of Applied Science semicolon as paragraph 1. So paragraph 1 with Bachelor of Applied Science semicolon, and then direct the attorney to renumber the paragraphs in current lines 19 through 27 accordingly. Does everyone understand the amendment? That keeps it in alphabetical order, which I believe the degrees are in. Representative Earhart, does that constitute the amendment you were after?
Mr. Chairman, that's acceptable. Thank you for perfecting the amendment.
So that goes into the language. We have a motion and a second on that. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Is there any discussion? Is there an objection to adopting the amendment? Is there any objection to adopting the amendment? The amendment is adopted. Well, if there's no objection, I'll do that. I would, the chair would move to, on line 37, strike September 1, just strike the 1, and instead insert 3 zeros. So the report would be due on September 30th, not September 1st. Is there a second to that? Is there discussion on that? The reason for that is that gives them a full calendar quarter after the fiscal year to do that. That was my original intention when I asked about the reporting, and I said September, and they made it September 1st. So is there any discussion on that amendment? If not, is there objection to that amendment? You have a question about the amendment? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I know we discussed this right before committee started, but as I read this, it says the report shall be based on the immediately prior fiscal, academic, or calendar year, but these programs will not have existed but for pretty much a month. There is no prior year. Is there any way that the first report could be due in 2025? And if not, should we change the wording of the last sentence, since I just don't know what there is to report for the prior fiscal, academic, or calendar year?
Fair enough, Representative, and on purposefully, when I asked for that addition, I wanted to be not to be overly prescriptive. I would suggest and recommend we keep it that, because that gives Georgia Military College the opportunity in that report to talk about what's going right, what's not going right, and what they need help with. Even if they're just starting there, if this moves forward, they may not have students at this point, but they're going to have experiences of getting the roll up. This would have that. I mean, the report may be very short, but it gives them the opportunity to do that. This is not a requirement for an audit. This is not something that's going to be hard. So I would prefer to keep it and give them an opportunity for them to officially tell us how things are going, and how they're progressing and getting them ready. And I've spoken with them, and they're in agreement with that.
Thank you.
But I appreciate the lady's comment. Is there any further discussion on the adoption of the motion, or on the adoption of the amendment to September 30th? Is there any objection to that? Then that amendment is adopted. We'll go on with discussion of the amendment, or the bill as amended. Representative Kelly. Representative Kelly. Chairman Knight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, seeing I will not be returning to the General Assembly, but I've taken great pride in making sure that our institutions are first well served, the USG, our technical colleges. I have concerns, and I have concerns about a number of measures from a financial point of view that will dilute our ability to properly fund all of our institutions, especially first and foremost our USG and our technical college institutions. And, again, I understand a lot of good work from Georgia Military College, but as we start to expand these programs, okay, that are outside of our current USG and technical college system. As the pot of money gets tighter and tighter and tighter, you know, I want to remind this committee and others in the General Assembly who will go on to next year that there will be tough decisions being made, you know, as to are we going to make sure that our priority is our USG and our technical college systems. And I've been very clear about that from prior years, and I'll continue to make that comment here. So I just want to put that out to members as they go forward. You know, good times are easy, but hard times are pretty tough, and where are our priorities? So I exercise caution with this bill and with others that would dilute the pot of money that we have that I believe first and foremost should go to our USG and our technical colleges. That's it.
Appreciate those comments, Chairman Knight. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, what we have before us now is a perfected bill starting with LC 460891S as amended. All those in favor of the passage of that as amended by committee sub signify by saying aye. Any opposed, no. I have 2 noes. It's so recorded. You're moving on to rules. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Senator, who's your House sponsor?
Chairman Josh Bonner.
Josh Bonner. Chairman Bonner. Chairman Bonner.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Senator Eccles. And Senator Eccles is coming back to us, ladies and gentlemen. She is still talking to us off Senate Bill 399, LC 491877S. There's not a substitute for this. This we heard last Wednesday, I believe.
That's correct.
So if you could just give us a quick overview, Senator, and we'll see if we can get you moving.
Just a quick refresher, this is the bill that encourages the TCSG and USG to coordinate their efforts to expand credit transfer opportunities between the two systems.
Are there any questions for the lady?
$3.99.
If there's no questions, we're in a posture to move on this. Let me sound to LC 491877S, Senate Bill 399. What's the pleasure of the committee? I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Discussion on the motion? Motion is do pass along the rules. SB 399, LC 491877S. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. That passes. You're on the rules. Who is your House sponsor?
Matt Dubnik. Dubnik.
Oh, she has Chairman Dubnik. Do y'all want to reconsider that? No, I'm just kidding. You've got a good,
whoever
you've
think.
got a good sponsor, Senator. We
you.
appreciate
Thank you so
Chairman
much.
Dubnik. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go Senate Bill 469. I don't know if Senator Estevez is here. He was tied up. I'm sure hearing some good House bills over there. If the ladies and gentlemen will recall, this bill was to remove the cap and allow that to be set by the board for the maximum amount that could go into Georgia 529 accounts. Chairman Wiedauer had an amendment that I will, if he'll press the button, I'll call on him to speak to. That is what created the sub you have before you, LC 500857S, to substitute to Senate Bill 469. This was the item that Chairman Wiedauer mentioned at our last meeting. Chairman Wiedauer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Senator Estevez and I met this morning with council and put this together. It just is increasing the tax deduction amount, deductible amount in the 529s to $5,000 and $10,000 for filing jointly. That's merely what it does.
Are there questions about the underlying bill or the Section 3? the new language. Any questions? Any questions? If not, what's the pleasure of the committee? I have a motion and a second that this do pass. LC 500857S. Is there discussion? Discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, no. That moves on. We'll look for a house sponsor, but we're going to volunteer Chairman Wiedauer unless we hear differently. Ladies and gentlemen, that covers our agenda that we had sounded. If you could stand with us for a minute, Representative Chairman Blackman, Chairman of Ways and Means, had asked if we would let him speak to us about his House Resolution 1384 that was just handed out. If you can bear with us for a second, I'd like to give the chairman a chance to get here and speak to us about that. If we'll just stand at ease for a second, I will get on an electronic device and see if he is here. I don't know. I don't know, Representative Scoggins, but I feel sure at some point you'll have a tax matter that you want to talk to Chairman Blackman about. So it might be a good thing. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. We do have an additional add to the agenda, and I failed to do that. There's a lot of things going on the last week, so we're back. We have one more item of action that I need to ask the committee's indulgence, and I'll ask. I'll try to present this from the chair if there's no objection. We passed out yesterday Senate Bill 137. If you recall, just yesterday, and the chair will note that he failed to get the essence of Representative Jasmine Clark's question regarding domicile for proprietary institutions. When she said domicile versus state, we knew what the difference to that was, and I was reading the first lines of the previous definition. Down in what we've been referring to word spaghetti that we're trying to get rid of is also the requirement that a proprietary institution be domiciled in the state of Georgia. So we have brought the bill back with record speed from the Rules Committee, and we have added that line that is now on line 83 to abide by what I had represented and what had been represented to us by council, that this was the exact language to not add someone or take someone away from the current law. So line 83 now reads as domiciled and incorporated in the state. That's the only change that was made to the legislation. But I'll offer that for the committee and would answer any questions along with the House sponsor of that, Representative Fleming. Any questions? Everybody? And again, thank you, Dr. Clark, for that. Yes, sir. Chairman Knight.
So with that new provision, is that existence for at least 10 years in the state, is that starting as of the date of passage of the bill, or is that going back and looking back from
the
there?
10 years is reflective of how it is reflected in the current code. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Are there further questions? So we have a substitute LC 500859S to SB 137. What's the pleasure of the committee in regards to this item? I have a motion and a second. This item do pass. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed, no. That moves on back to rules. Chairman Blackman, you were here. Representative Scoggins wants to talk to you for a second before we get on to your matter. No, I'm just. Chairman Blackman, welcome. You want to tell us about your resolution?
I'm afraid I've come woefully ill-prepared and have not been before your committee, so I apologize, Mr. Chairman. I can talk a little bit about it. Swap that out. I think having talked to you and some other members over time, there really hasn't been a look back after we've adjusted some of our higher ed institutions, or most of them, I should say, USG and TCSG, from the semester system to the quarter system. And there were a number of things that I think were indicated when we did such that would change, or what benefits we might see. And this is intended to study some of those benefits, and if they were realized, and perhaps put together a list of pros and cons therein. So in short, that's the resolution, Mr. Chairman. Be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Chairman Blackman. We always look at something a couple of times, so this is the first time. But I think the chairman brings us an interesting opportunity. And this is a House resolution only, so it doesn't have to cross over. It is in order if we want to move on this at our next meeting. But if I would just ask everybody to take a look at it. We always give you more than a day to do so, but I thank the gentleman for bringing it. And please, if you have a question about it, get with Chairman Blackman. Otherwise, we'll have it teed up at our next meeting, which will probably be Monday.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Any questions for the gentleman? I would say this just publicly: if someone has a question about it, when we bring it back for the second hearing, I'll take public comment at that time, because I know this wasn't advertised out on the agenda. But I know Chairman Blackman is busy, and he will be more so even next week, finishing up some tax matters in consultation with the Senate. So I wanted to give him the opportunity to share that with us. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
Is there any further business before the committee? If there's not, then keep your eyes to your electronic device. We will meet again. Soon. If there are no further actions, thank you everyone for coming, and we'll stand adjourned without objection.